poised, isn't it? Everyone knows what a fan I am of cue action, of technique. I want to show you a couple of differences with the two players this afternoon. First of all, Kyron Wilson. He's got this small quirk in his cue action, OK? It's all in the backswing and then on the delivery. He comes back, and when he's at the back here, he's a bit like Ray Reardon, actually. Watch. He comes back, goes through a touch, and then sort of delivers. John Higgins is completely different. It's all in the one movement I call gradual acceleration. So John, you could argue John's a bit smoother. It's all in the one movement like that. We've got a few shots, funny enough, from this afternoon's session that will show you really up close. First of all, Kyron. This is a beautiful little shot. Watch his cue action, watch the pause. It kind of goes forward and then goes forward again. And sometimes you can lose accuracy. Your timing has to be absolutely spot on. This is John with a similar shot. You don't get to see all of his cue here, but watch the gradual acceleration. It's more controlled, and therefore he gets the pot. Not every time, obviously. Now, when it goes wrong for John, the boys showed this in the studio, he puts in a fast one. So even although John's smoother and a little bit more reliable, he can put in a fast one. He doesn't want to put any more fast ones this afternoon, or Kyron will jump all over him.
Oh,
His game, but I want to show you one. It's obviously with the rest. You've probably heard me talking about it. Part of the problem is when you're playing a shot with the rest, watch this right arm. It's a bit like a pendulum. You want to catch the cue ball in the middle of these feathers here. So what I'm going to show you, I've got a couple of cue balls, a couple of reds. The way John feathers, excuse me, he's too far back from it. You see it there? So by the time he delivers, he's kind of searching for the cue ball. What he wants to do is get up nice and close like that, yeah? Nice and close with the ball. And then he can release from there. What he gets from that is more control and more power. I think it's something John Higgins could be working on, because in frame 4, it cost him today.
Wasn't playing particularly well in one of the sessions. In fact, his highest break against Kyron Wilson in one of them was only 37. But he saw our footage on BBC, didn't like what he saw, thought he was cueing wrong. Let's have a look at the footage today from him playing, and we'll show you the differences. We see John Higgins walking into the shot now. Okay, he's unusual in the respect that his tip doesn't get right up to the white, but he's actually shortened up his bridge hand. The distance from his bridge hand to the cue ball has been shortened in. He comes back, he still finishes his backswing as the cue nearly comes off his bridge hand, but it makes him very, very accurate and a little bit more compact. So I'm going to show you exactly what he does, and if you try this yourself, you'd be amazed how much work you can get on the cue ball. So ordinarily, I'd go into here, my bridge would be this sort of length, ready to go. But if you do what John Higgins is, keep it in the same place, but just move your bridge hand in slightly closer. Play the same way, and you won't believe how much work you get on the cue ball. It's fantastic. In 1927, and if you look at the footage of those old players, you'll see something totally technically different. We've got a still of Mark Williams playing a shot here, and just have a look at his front arm, in his case his right arm, and how bent it is. So we'll see him there. Anyway, if you look at the old black and whites, the old players used to play with very much a straight left arm, in my case, like this. The disadvantage of this is when you're playing, I've put the tip up against the cue ball just to give you an idea of how far or how little you get through the ball. When you come through and you hit your chest, which is as far as you can come through with your backswing, you can only get through the ball so far, maybe a couple of inches if you're lucky. But in the modern game, if you bend your front arm and you get up to the cue ball, watch the difference now. So there's the bend, it's all ready, same cueing, same place, come back, right the way through the ball. It's nearly 3 times the distance and you'll be right through the ball. It's particularly useful when you get the cue ball near the cushion. Get there, just put a little bit of bend in the arm and you can fire the cue ball straight the way through and have lots of power. And if that doesn't work for you, just have a kebab at 2:30 in the morning.
top players in the world to have the best cue actions and the best technique. But there's also something else that's very important. There's no accounting for talent as well. And sometimes that can overcome textbook theory technique. Now, take a look at this little clip we've got of Judd Trump. It's quite an easy pink, but you can see the way he's lined up. It looks like perhaps he's going to hit the pink to the right jaw. But as he delivers the cue goes fractionally through offline and actually corrects itself. So let's take a look at this situation. We're going to use the balk line. This is effectively how Judd Trump plays shots. When he's lining up to perhaps hit the ball along the balk line, the cue is not actually on the line of the shot, and the tip's not necessarily in his starting position in the middle of the white ball. But as he pulls the cue back and then his grip comes through the ball, it corrects itself and it goes through on a different line. And hopefully he hits the middle of the ball. The trouble is, if he puts too much effort in or too little effort in, he's got to judge this curve effect of the cue as it goes through. Now, if you're trying to teach somebody from scratch, you try to say, OK, white ball in the tip of the cue in the middle, get the cue on the line of the baulk line, perhaps put a couple of chalks there so that when you pull the cue back and you push the cue forwards, you don't touch the chalk. But if all of a sudden you're going through offline, you're not on the line of the shot, and that becomes a lot harder to play straight shots with.